Welcome back to episode 3 of the series How to Make Your Own Programming Language in Python. In the last episode we created the parser which processed the tokens and then executed the correct code. However, in this episode we will be moving the code execution into a separate class, the interpreter. The input of the interpreter is going to be something called an abstract syntax tree, which is a tree representation of the structure of the code. So here's an example that we might have in the future. So we start with a program, and inside the program we have a list of function definitions. So here we have one defined print hello world, and inside it has a list of statements. So here we have the function call statement, which calls the print function, and then it has a string node of the value that it has to print, so hello world. And then we have another function over here, do some math, and this has a variable declaration and names a variable number, and then assigns the number to an addition of two numbers. At the moment though, we only have print statements in our language, and so here's a much simpler example that we will be creating in this episode. So you can see we have two print statements in our code, and this is converted to an abstract syntax tree like this. Right, so now we're going to start writing the code. So at the moment here in the parser we are currently interpreting the code, but what we're going to be doing is changing that to build up an abstract syntax tree. So we're going to begin up here and create a few node classes. The first class we're going to make is the program tree. So this is going to take in a list of nodes that we will call statements. So we're going to just assign that to self.statements. Next we are going to create the print node class. And so in the initialize function we're just going to take in the node that we will be printing, so a string node at the moment, and we'll just assign that to self.node. And finally we are going to create the string node class, and this is just going to take in a reference to the token so we can access the string value to print out. Right, and now we're going to modify the parser, and it's actually quite simple. So the first thing that we're going to do is in the program function just return a new program tree and pass in the result of the statements method. Now we are going to create a statements list to hold all the nodes, and we will just return that. And when we come across a print statement, we'll just add a print node to that list. And then we have to create a new string node to hold the string token that we will be printing. And now the final thing we have to do in the parser class is return the result of self.program. Now when we run the parser, we're just going to store the result in a variable called tree. Now we are going to create the interpreter class, which will traverse the tree and execute the correct code. So the first method we're going to create is going to be the visit program tree method, and this is just going to take in the entire tree. So now what we have to do is loop through every single node inside that tree, and now we are just going to check if that node is a print node. And if that is the case, we are just going to call a new method that we will define called visit print node. So we're just going to pass in the node, so we'll define that now, and we're going to take in that node, and now we're just going to print the nodes node. So obviously the print node has a string node inside it. We're going to take out the token from that and then take out the value, and we're going to print that onto the screen. So now we're just going to come down here and create an instance of the interpreter class, and then we will call the visit program tree method and just pass in the tree. So that should be it. So if we just run the program again, What happened here? Oh, I have a capital I there, sorry about that. So if we run that again, great. Hello world and hello universe. So we didn't actually do anything new in this episode, but we did manage to separate the code execution from the parser class into a separate interpreter class, and that's going to make things a lot easier in the future. So in the next episode we're going to take a look at how to add variables to the language, and so I look forward to seeing you then.